Hello everybody. Today we want to talk about the upcoming changes for a particular Russian medium tank line in the tech tree. It seems that Wargaming, or at least the World of Tanks developers, are busy with rearranging the Object 416 medium line. Let us first have a look at the current tech tree. Especially the line of the Object 416, starting with the A44. Now we have the A44 at Tier 7, which goes to the Tier 8 Object 416. From there we go to either the T54 or the Object 432, both Tier 9 vehicles. The Tier 9 Object 432 goes to the Tier 10 Object 430 and the Tier 9 T54 goes to the Tier 10's T62A or Object 140. We want to talk about the line that ends with the Object 430. It seems that Wargaming wants to change this line of Russian medium tanks. The A44 will stay at his post at Tier 7. But the Object 416, for which I worked my ass off, will disappear from the tech tree. Thank you very much Wargaming. Not. Instead of the Object 416, the now Tier 9 Object 432 will take his place. And the now Tier 10 Object 430 will take place at Tier 9. So we have an open spot at Tier 10, and guess what? Yes, my dear friends, we get a new Tier 10 Russian medium tank. Named the Object 430U. Now, let us have a look at each vehicle separately. We start with the A44 that stays on Tier 7. Most specifications stay the same, but there are minor tweaks to the penetration values, the accuracy at 100 meters and the aim time. The vehicle keeps its hit points at 1100. The frontal armor for the hull stays at 150 mm, the sides at 60 mm and also the back stays at 60 mm. The frontal armor for the turret keeps his 90 mm armor, and the same goes for the sides and the back of the turret, 90 mm. The turret traverse speed stays at 38 degrees per second and the hull traverse speed stays at 44 degrees per second. Also the view range stays at 370 m. Top speeds are 59 km per hour forwards and 20 km per hour backwards. So those stay the same as before. Also the dealt damage stays the same at 300 HP with AP shells, 300 HP with premium ammo and 360 HP with high explosive shells. But now we have a change in the penetration values. For AP and high explosive shells the values stays the same, 167 mm with AP and 54 mm with high explosives. But for premium ammo the penetration goes from 219 mm to 184 mm. That gives us a difference of 35 mm less penetration with APCR shells. The accuracy or dispersion at 100 meters changed from 0.45 to 0.42. The aiming time went from 3.4 seconds to 3 seconds, and the reloading time stays the same with 10.5 seconds. This is all folks, regarding the A44 that stays at Tier 7. Now we will have a closer look at the next tank in line, that will be the Object 432, that will change positions from Tier 9 to Tier 8. Of course, by changing tiers, a lot of the specifications change too. Let's have a closer look at those changes. It all starts with the hit points. The original 1700 HP goes now to 1450 HP. The hull armor stays the same with 120 mm at the front, 80 mm at the sides and 40 mm at the back. The turret armor changes from the original 248 mm at the front to 223 mm now. The side armor of the turret goes from 185 mm to 166 mm, and the back of the turret stays the same at 63 mm. The turret traverse speed goes from 40 degrees per second to 35 degrees per second. And the traverse speed of the hull goes from 48 degrees per second to 44 degrees per second. The view range goes down from 390 meters to 370 meters. Also the top speeds of this vehicle have been slightly changed. The forward speed goes from 55 km per hour to 45 km per hour and the backward speed goes from 20 km per hour to 18 km per hour. And then we have the gun penetration, as well as the damage dealt, changes significantly. The pen with AP shells goes from 219 to 202. With APCR it goes from 330 to 270, and with high explosives the pen goes from 50 to 61. The damage you can deal with this gun goes from 320 to 390 with AP shells. For APCR shells it goes from 320 to 390, and for high explosives the damage dealt goes from 420 to 530. The accuracy or dispersion at 100 meters goes from 0.38 to 0.42. The aiming time stays the same at 2.9 seconds. And the reloading time goes way up from 8 seconds to 13.8 seconds. This was it, for the Object 430 version 2. Now we can jump to the new Tier 9 that will be the former Tier 10, Object 430. We don't have to tell you, that also this vehicle, will have significant changes, coming from a Tier 10 level to Tier 9. So let's start and have a look at the hit points. Those change from 2000 to 1800 HP. The hull's armor stays the same, with 120 mm at the front, 80 mm at the sides, and 40 mm at the back of the vehicle. Even the turret's armor stays the same, with 248 mm at the front, 185 mm at the sides, and 63 mm at the back of the turret. The rotation speed of the turret goes from 40 degrees to 38 degrees per second. And the rotation speeds for the hull stays the same with his 52 degrees per second. The view range decreases from 400 meters to 380 meters. The Object 430 will drive a maximum of 50 km per hour, instead of 55 before. The backward speed goes from 20 to 18 km per hour. The penetration values go down, and the damage values go up. Penetration goes from 264, 330, and 50 mm, with respectively AP, APCR, and high explosive shells to 238, 248, and 61 mm. The damage you can deal with this vehicle is 390 with AP, 390 with APCR, and 530 with high explosives. Formerly that was 320, 320, and 420 HP. We have a dispersion at 100 meters that goes from 0.38 to 0.42. An aiming time that goes from 2.3 seconds to 2.5 seconds. And a reloading time that goes from 6.4 to 9.7 seconds. And now, the moment you were all waiting for. This will be the brand new Russian Tier 10 medium tank, the Object 430U. Let's talk about the specifications a bit of this new vehicle. The hit points will be 2000 HP. That is the same amount of HP as the former Object 430. Now, let's talk about the armor a bit. The frontal armor is 160 mm. That's 40 mm more than the former Tier 10. The side armor is 90 mm. Also this is 10 mm more than the former Tier 10. And the armor at the back is 45 mm, which is 5 mm more. The armor for the turret goes as follows. 300 mm at the front, which is 52 mm more than the former Tier 10. At the sides of the turret we have 195 mm, which is 10 mm more than the former one. And 65 mm at the back of the turret, which was 63 before, with the old Tier 10. The turret traverse speed will be 38 degrees per second. With the former Tier 10 that was 40 degrees. And the rotation of the hull goes as fast as 52 degrees per second, which is the same as before with the Object 430. We get a view range of 400 meters. Also this stays the same as with the old Tier 10 vehicle. The top speeds go down a bit, from 55 to 50 km per hour forwards, and from 20 to 18 km per hour backwards. The penetration values also change a bit. With AP shells, this new vehicle will penetrate 252 mm of armor, which is 12 mm less than the old Tier 10. But for APCR shells we get a higher penetration value of 340 mm, used to be 330. And for high explosives we get 68 mm of penetration instead of the old 50 mm. So, maybe we have to hand in 12 mm of penetration with the standard AP shells, the damage it'll do will be way more than the old Tier 10. With AP and APCR, we get 440 HP of damage, and with high explosives we get 530 HP of damage. So for AP and APCR shells that is 120 HP more damage per shot, and for high explosives that is 110 HP more in comparison with the old Tier 10. The accuracy or dispersion at 100 meters, is 0.4. That is slightly worse than the 0.38 from the old Tier 10. Aiming time is 2.3 seconds, which is the same as with the former vehicle. And the reloading time is 3.22 seconds longer than with the former tank, and is 10.2 seconds. All what we were talking about, are the new plans of Wargaming. It seems that they want to get rid of the Object 416, that is now a Tier 8 medium tank. Therefore they stir up the whole branch by placing the former Tier 9 at the Tier 8 spot, the former Tier 10 at the Tier 9 spot, and a brand new tank takes place at the end of this medium branch. When this will all go live is still a big question. These changes are newly published on the World of Tanks forum. All of these changes are implemented in the Super Test server. You have to keep in mind that with the knowledge these vehicles are just at the Super Test server, all of these specifications can still change. Why Wargaming wants to get rid of the current Tier 8 Object 416 is still a big question. Hopefully they will provide us with some more insights in their new project very soon. Until then, we keep our eyes and ears open. The moment we have more information, we will share it with you. What do you think of these changes? Do you think it's really necessary to take the Object 416 out of the game, and make all of these other changes? Personally, I don't really understand. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with this branch. So why changing something that doesn't need changes? Leave your comments in the comment section below. We will gladly take this discussion up a notch.